or worse, and everybody else knew what worse meant. And then we were briefed by the CIA and the National Security Agency never to say a word about it. And I didn't for 20 years. I was in a hole. I was in a depression you couldn't believe. And then a book came out called Assault on the Liberty, written by James Ennis. Read the book, understood that other people besides myself, I thought I was the only one that felt that way, but I wasn't. But the Israeli government and our government, they might as well have fired the bullets at all of you sitting right here, because when they attack one American, they attack us all. I have two sons. Bryce is my oldest son. He's in the United States Army Ranger Special Forces. My other son, Shane, he's in the United States Navy SEALs. Why they joined the military, I don't know, after what I told them. I said, listen, the only people you're going to war for is Israel. And that's who you're going to be fighting for. And that's who you're going to be dying for. But they're grown men. They want to do what they're going to do. I couldn't talk them out of it. But anyway, that's the way I feel. But the Liberty has made a footprint. They made a footprint on the Middle East 40 years ago, and that footprint is not erased yet. If the American public knew what Israel did to this American ship, they would be outraged. They would, our passionate attachment for Israel would not be passionate very long. We'd be done with them. The American public wouldn't stand for it. And the conspiracy, it goes on and on after each president, each Congress. They all know the truth. We get secret documents. They don't mean anything. They're all blacked out. I get the same documents every year. I'm on their list. They send me the same documents. They might add one word, an I or an A, but the rest of it's all blacked out. So I don't know how to get the word out other than talking to people like you, which I do quite often. It's almost useless to write your Congress, but if you do, it does let them know you're still there. The Liberty story will be repeated. I think it was repeated when the barracks were blown up in Beirut, and I think it was done by our friends with skull caps too. I think they killed them all to get us out of there. That's my own personal opinion. I have nothing to back it up with, but that's just what I believe. The other thing I wanted to get across was that the cover-up is probably what is going to break the back of Israel more than the attack, because the cover-up consists of the United States and Israel in conjunction as a conspiracy, and that's the only way we're going to take our country back is to get the truth out. And I think the attack on our ship, I personally believe that God saved us because nobody else was there to help us. He held that ship up, and it was by all means supposed to sink. Every engineer, everybody we talked to said there's no way that ship should have made it, because it was broken all the way down to the keel. The keel was completely broken. And we got it into Malta, stayed there a month. They made the ship look like brand new, patched all the holes up, and we brought it back to the States. There was myself and about 15 other guys, skeleton crew, brought the ship back to Little Creek, Virginia. I stayed aboard the Liberty until December the 12th, 1967. I was discharged. Stayed out of the Navy for about a year. I went back in for 2 more years, and I thought maybe that would change my attitude, but I couldn't take it anymore, so I got out. But that's basically it. It's a true story. They got by with cold-blooded murder, and nobody should get by with murder, not even Israel. and that's just the way it is. So if you have any questions, I'd like to answer a few questions. If not, well, they wanted to sink us fast, blame it on Egypt, and we wouldn't be fighting in Iraq right now if we had sunk, because Israel and the United States would have owned all the Middle East. The Russians wouldn't have gone against us on that one. I mean, the Russians were there and told us, don't get involved in this. But you sink an American ship, the Egyptians sink an American ship, what are you going to do?
What was the role of Admiral McCain?
I'm sorry?
What was the role of Admiral McCain?
Very good question. Admiral McCain. I'm sorry? Oh, okay. Yes. What was the role of Admiral McCain? Well, he was our boss. He was the Europe commander of the Sixth Fleet, and he ordered Admiral Kidd to have this investigation, board of inquiry, done within 1 week. And that was impossible. This investigation should have taken at least a year. One of the lead investigators on it, Ward Boston, later came out and said, yeah, it's a sham. We were ordered to lie. It's a cover-up. Everybody knows it's a cover-up. Admiral McCain, Senator McCain's son or dad, ordered him to cover it up, and it's been covered up to this day. And I've written to McCain before, and he doesn't want to hear about it for sure. But that was his role as a part of the cover-up. But Ward Boston and Admiral Storing, he was a Judge Advocate General. He supports us. He says, yeah, it was a cover-up. And we've got tons and tons of people that support us, but it doesn't do any good. I was in the State Department giving a speech, or ready to give a speech, and the moderator at that time cut me off. I was there for about 2 hours, and I was at the microphone, and he said the conference is over. Click, and that was it. And that's when they had a State Department that said it was a mistaken identity. We've looked at this, and we've looked at this, and we've looked at this. At that time, I was the president of the association, and that's why I was there. But I've tried everything I know on God's green earth to get this story out, and so have the other survivors. And it's ruined many lives. It's destroyed a lot of lives, parents, brothers, aunts, uncles. It's a terrible situation. But if they get by it once, they'll get by with it again. Yes.
In about 67 war,
Oh.
we found out many years later that the Israelis were executing Arab prisoners, Egyptians, in Sinai. And as you said before, the Liberty had the electronic sophistication to pick up that. Did you ever find out if that was ever uncovered? And what?
I really apologize. I can't. Why don't you come here closer? I really can't hear you.
Okay. In the 1967 war, Egyptian prisoners were being executed by the Israelis, and that's a war crime, of course, for which they could be prosecuted under the Geneva Conventions. Theoretically, at least, the Liberty had the ability to detect that with their electronic surveillance equipment. Did you ever find out if that was true, and was it ever, reported before the attack? Was this the real reason why Admiral Kidd told you not to say a word about any of this stuff? Whatever came of that?
There was no explanation ever made. Basically, they just told us to shut up, and but we knew what was up. It took me a few years to figure it out, but they didn't want us talking about it, and that's just basically it. Like I say, I didn't talk about it for 20 years. I was afraid to, and but It's just been a part of my life that I don't think that anybody should have to go through. None of your sons or brothers or